Welcome to the Tech Savvy Professor podcast. Two faculty who love tech and love making it part of their work. I'm Marty Jencius from Kent State University.
And I'm Eric Perry, clinical faculty at Southern New Hampshire University.
So, Eric, printers have changed a lot over the years, and we have changed a lot from using printers over the years. So, I've got a story about printers that I'll share, but what's your use of printers and how has that changed for you?
It's funny because we have two of them in the house right now, but they're primarily for the kids. I will avoid using a printer at all costs. There's not much I've used a printer for work. Managing practicum and internship for a period of time, there were things that had to be printed, had to be sent in. So that part I used it for. It's been several years now, but in recent years, don't use a whole lot of them. One of my first jobs, though, I was a data entry technician for a company out here, which meant I typed most days, but they'd also find it in their hearts to have me help change toner and those types of things in the giant office printers. And, I don't know if I'm still holding on to some trauma from that experience, but even changing an ink cartridge irritates me. So I have some pretty strong opinions about printers.
Was it the dusty LaserJet ink cartridges or were it the actual ink cartridges?
No, it was the dust, and it came in these large plastic jugs that you had to use almost a funnel to refill the
right.
toner in the printer. And there was just no way to do it without like dusting yourself and
yeah, so your wardrobe might as well be black because it's going to be that way by the time you're done changing cartridges.
That's not a joke. I would wear black. When I knew they were going to have me do this, I would wear black because it was going to get on anything and everything. I had toner glasses, like glasses that I would wear that I knew were going to get toner on them because I would even have it get in the frames and the
edges.
Yeah, it was impossible to get out.
Eric during his emo phase. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, all black.
Well, yeah. We have an arrangement where all of our computers in our office are connected into a central printer or Xerox machine, if you want to call it that, photocopy machine. And so we can print directly from our computer into that printer, as long as IT has set you up to do that. At home, I have one printer that's behind me that is an all-in-one, so it does printing, scanning, and if I had it hooked into a phone number or phone, I guess it would also do faxing. And we occasionally have to use a fax machine. Generally, investment companies want that stuff faxed to them, so there are online apps that you can use that once you have a PDF of it, so we scan it, change it into a PDF, and then I use the app to electronically fax it to whatever company needs the faxing. But many of that's gone by the side road, but there are a few situations where I need to have access to a fax. At home, I don't have any problems printing. I'm using an HP, and I have been soured on HPs as of recently, and we'll get into that story. It's supposed to be wireless. It is wireless now, but you never know when it's not going to be wireless. So I have a USB cable that I drag across the floor to plug it into my computer so I can hardwire print if the wireless doesn't work. It's just wonky that way. But I don't use it a lot. Sometimes I use it for printing here because it's easier for me to print stuff here than to print at the office. And then I can take what I print here and go right to class with it. At the office, I have done this big workaround, and I know none of the people from IT listen to this podcast, so please don't tell them. I have had a iMac from that we're supposed to have 3-year refresh. Well, COVID reset the clock on everything, and then cutting back on expenses, they tried to extend that. And now it's sort of, I don't know when my calendar for refresh is coming up. I think it's next year I'll get a new one, but it's like a 6-year-old low-end iMac that's a 20-inch iMac. And every time I turned it on, it would take forever to get started. I would call them up out of spite and say, please come up here and do something with this. And they would say, well, you need to not have this on it. And it's sort of like, well, my connection to the cloud is how I do my work. So what do you mean I can't have that on that? Well, that's slowing it down along with all the crippleware and scanning stuff that we put on it. So it became essentially useless as a computer. It now sits underneath my desk. And knowing that we were returning to work, I went out and I got a Mac Mini M2, which means I probably have the fastest computer in the college and also maybe the fastest computer at the university. And I basically set it up as an external device. It's like students bring their laptops. I bring my laptops. I don't plug into the network. I just jump on their Wi-Fi. So I set it up as an external device, and I'm able to do what I want to do as fast as I want to do it. I've got the programs on that I want, and I'm not hooked into the university network in that way, except for one thing: printers. I can't hook this computer into the network to go to the photocopy machine to print what I want. So if I do that, then the gig's up. I mean, they know that I've got this clandestine computer in my office that I'm doing my work on. So I went out and I bought an HP LaserJet MFP M40WE all-in-one wireless black and white printer, $125. And I hooked it up and it worked for a couple of months. And then something changed where it stopped working. So I spent about 6 hours trying to fix this so I could print one copy of something that I'm working on. And then if it's for a class of 20, I could walk that over to the photocopy machine and make 20 copies, and I'm still out of their ecosystem.
Right.
It stopped working, and it is because I found this out. HP has now changed its process to where you have to be signed up for the HP Plus program, and your documents then go through their system, which means it has to be connected to the internet in order for that to happen. And I consider it a violation of my privacy that I have to go through their system to print stuff. And so I gave up on it. I said, I have to figure out something else, and went out and bought a Canon Image Class MF 3010 VP wired monochrome laser printer. So there is absolutely no wireless on this. I love it. It's just you plug it into the USB, you plug it in. And I did that this weekend, which is why we're having this conversation now. And I stuck in, on a weekend, carried my old printer out. My son now has that, and brought in the Canon, hooked it up, and got it running. So I'm still a clandestine operation in my own office, and it's wired directly through. Have you heard about this in terms of HP computers or printers?
So I had a little tirade about it when the change happened, and they actually did this through the HP Smart platform. So the software that they have you install,
right,
is through HP Smart, and they have a mobile version of it too. And at first, I was really impressed because I was able to print from mobile, and it didn't mess with any of the formatting. Like, it looked how it was supposed to look, and I'd never had that experience with a printer printing from mobile, and it worked well from my kids' Apple devices and my Samsung. So I was really impressed at first, and then recognized the limitations and the fact that this process was moving through HP as opposed to just moving to the printer in the way that it should. So I took the functionality off. You can hardwire those, certain models. I actually have sitting next to me the HP Envy 5540, which I've kept for a good period of time because I haven't had any issues with ink cartridges or print quality. And I can let it sit a couple of months and print, and it still works, which I haven't found to be the case for others. You have to use them with some regularity, or the cartridges dry out, or you can't clean them. So we've used that one quite a bit. And then the other one that my wife actually got from work, and we ended up buying one for home for the kids, is the 3700 series, the HP DeskJet. And that one allows you to hook up via USB and not use the HP Smart platform. So those are the two that we've just had, and that seem to last us a little while. But yeah, the HP Smart thing really, set me
Yeah,
off.
I tried to, because this also is not just wireless, it also has direct hard wire. And I had it set up that way. And then I started getting error and troubleshooting lights
Mhm.
about on the panel on the HP printer. And frankly, their documentation that comes with it sucks.
Does.
It's just terrible. And if you go to their website to troubleshoot, it's even worse. So I'm sitting there for 3 to 4 hours trying to get this thing straightened out, trying everything I know to do it, and even deleting the drivers and deleting the software and reloading the software still didn't work. And the thing has got a hard wire in it. Why can't it see that hard wire over the wireless setup piece? So I just said, this is 3 to 4 hours of my time. Figure $25 an hour if I was getting paid to do this. I can just buy myself a new printer and not waste time with this. And went ahead and found this Canon. Now, as far as Apple is concerned, what I've heard from other Apple fanatics is that they really like brother printers. Those
Mm.
seem to interface really well. So far, this one hasn't given me any trouble. I've done some test sheets on it. I'll go in today and play with it a little bit just to make sure it's still hopping. I went on Reddit to try and find out. Actually, I was on Reddit and I was reading, and there was a question that came up was, what product was designed by engineers who never used the product? And right at the top of the list was HP printers.
Uh-huh.
And, and so I read through the comments, and that's why I learned a lot about this connection to HP Plus or whatever it's called, where you have to use their internet connection in order to make the process work, and how appalled people were with the design and with the troubleshooting of it. So it reinforced my angst. And so I felt like I had some soul matches out there who have been frustrated with HP products, and the bloatware that comes with not only the printer, but with computers has been a real turnoff for me. So I got to work around. Again, I won't use printers a lot. I try to avoid using it. And with course management systems, you can put things up on PDF and students can decide whether to print or not, or, write notes on the document using some sort of app that they want to.
Yeah, I mean, I use it a lot for quizzes and tests and stuff for live teaching. But outside of that, anything that I have informationally that I want to use, I'll post in the LMS or the course management system, and let them make that determination themselves. I read a lot on tablets anyway, so I'll download whatever I need there, and I know a lot of students are going that route now too,
Yeah.
especially with book rentals and those types of things. All their media starting to come through rather than physical textbooks, gaining some popularity in that digital format. There's not a lot of printing going on.
Yeah. Well, you work on an online setup. I work with a brick and mortar setup. So my printing is I need 20 copies of this because this is something I'm going to give the students, and we're going to work in the class in the moment on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't guarantee all students will have devices in the class where they can grab it and work on it. So I want to, so it still serves a function for me. It's just I'm using it less and less.
Mm-hmm.
Any other tips or ideas about printers for folks who are listening to us?
No, I just, there is not a piece of technology that I own that I have a less expectation that it will work anytime I try to use it. I know that this printer can fail at any point in time, and that's just an expectation.
Yeah. Aileen will say, will you print this for me? And she'll send it to me. And then like an hour later, she goes, did you print that for me? And I said, I'm still working on getting the printer to work. Thank you.
And these are people that are fairly comfortable with technology that have
Yeah.
to fight
Yeah.
with this. This is not a user error scenario.
Yeah. It's a engineered designed situation that the engineers never attempted to use.
Right.
Well, that's it for this show. And I think we're coming back with the next show. What did we say we're going to talk about in terms of topics?
I think we're going to talk about monitor setup.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get to talk about different monitors we've used and how we use them in the next episode that you hear. So how can you get involved? You've got a tech question. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to do something with technology, or you have an idea to share that you'd like to share with us. You can email us at thepodtalknetwork@gmail.com or call and leave a message at 330-333-1240, and we'll play your question in the podcast and try and get an answer for you. Our bumper music is from Philip Gross Rast from the Free Music Archive. That's it for today's show. Thanks for subscribing to the Tech Savvy Professor podcast. Everything you need to know to get connected to us is at techsavvyprofessor.net. That's our new website. You can find us by searching Apple Podcasts for the Tech Savvy Professor. Look for us on Spotify, TuneIn, and Google Play Music. Look for other shows like Circular Firing Squad. That's where we have fun and talk about counseling and life questions. Find out about Circular Firing Squad on thepodtalk.net. Thanks for listening to the Tech Savvy Professor.